Good, how you doing? Look order they got.
You know, the thing is, I ain't heard nothing from you. You over here. They've been off school, but they just heard nothing. They leave me here.
Go back home, she can't go to West Side, right?
You got this saving that?
She sure is. Yeah, good.
That's right. What was it?
All for each
We'll call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Brad, you move before the prayer.
Let's pray. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you this day. We thank you for all your many blessings in life, Father. Father, we ask you tonight, Lord, that you just be with us, Lord, as we go about this county business. Lord, I pray, Lord, that everything that's said and done will be just honored and pleasing to you, Father. Father, go with us now, lead, guide, and direct. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment. Anybody got any public comment? Come right ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Lance Helton. I'm the head football coach here at Jeff Davis High School. And I'm here today, this evening rather, just to talk to you guys, not about finances, not asking for money, but just asking for your support in this time of Jeff Davis football. For those that aren't aware, we were very blessed this year to break a 16-year playoff streak. Some of that came through a very stressful Monday night on our kids and myself, and we were able to send 4 kids off to play college football, and we're very happy about that. But more than that, what I'm here to do tonight and throughout this next time is just to ask everybody and this whole community, this whole county, just asking them for their support for these young men. And I'm here to just present 2 events that we've got upcoming, and all we're asking for is your support. I've got 2 documents that I'll leave at the table if that'd be okay for you. And the first document is our first annual Jacket Golf Tournament. Okay, that'll be on Saturday, June the 16th. It's a 2-man scramble where it's a 2014 limit. We're giving out 6 cash prizes. And while this is a fundraiser for us, it's about bringing this community and rallying together before our football season starts. Okay, and that is the finishing touches to what I think is a very special event for this community. With the help of Mr. Jim Sewell, with our school board, our superintendent, we've come up with a Legends Gala that we'll have on June the 15th, Friday night, at the Jeff Davis Fairgrounds. And when I got here, there were 6 names that were synonymous with great players here at Jeff Davis County. There's been many. But I think if you went up to anybody in this town and asked who 10 people were, everybody was going to name these 6. And those 6 are Calvin Harrison, Mike Stewart, Barry Jones, Deshae McKeever, Nate Hibble, and James Earl Craig. And what we plan on doing on June the 15th is having a Legends Gala in their honor. I think that all 6 of those players are worthy of getting their jerseys retired here at Jeff Davis High School. But thank goodness we have an influx in participation on our football team, and I'm running out of numbers. So what we're going to do is have these 6 players every year pick a young man on our team to represent themselves and their family. And they'll wear their jersey in their honor. And what we want to do is have a community-wide gala every year on Father's Day weekend to honor these young men. And more importantly than that, the legends that they're honoring. And what we've done is we have put together a keynote speaker list of those 6 individuals, an introductory speaker of former Yellow Jacket Matt Wise, and we'll have a ceremony, swapping of the jerseys, a dinner, and a silent auction. Hey, I know that one of the biggest concerns in this community is the nickel and dime fundraisers from our athletic programs. And I'm trying to take a first-hand approach in going away from that. But in order for us to go away from that here, we've got to have this entire community support on these events. And guys, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I thank you guys for allowing me to stand up here tonight and present this to you. If it's okay, I'll just lay this folder at the front. There's 25 copies for you all, anybody in this room, and my contact information, along with my other coaches, is there. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, everybody.
Any-
I'm here on Sunny Road. I have been here several times by the road.
What's your name, ma'am? I'm sorry.
My name is Jerry Scurry. I'm Jimmy Scurry, late wife, the wife of Jimmy Scurry. We built the road out here 220 Town Club Road. The road has been washed out. If the ambulance need to come to my house, the ambulance can't even come. So now we having to take a route. I'm gonna show you the picture of this road.
220 Council Road.
Town Club. This is the way this road look as of now. It is really washed out. Just like I said, the ambulance need to come to my house. They can't come to my house. They have to do a route. So when people need to come to my house, I have to reroute another route to come into my yard. I'm not asking for much. I've been on this road for a while, trying to get in and out. But just like I said, when we built this road, we didn't know this road had to be on the other side. So when me and my husband built it to move out there, we built and we can come up. But now we can't even come up, or I can't. My husband's dead and gone. So I'm just asking for some help, asking for anything that can be done about this road. Because just like I say, when you drive in, to the right people down there in that trailer park can get in, but I can't even come up.
This
to
is
get in my road.
a private road, right?
Well, it's a private slash, I mean, it's the same road that the dirt washing off
In the highway.
in the highway. Same.
Does the county grade it?
No. Just a private.
But it is washed, like she said, she can't get in and out, maybe private property,
But you got, I mean, she's not gonna talk about that same
Yeah.
road, the other guy. Matter of fact, the Bentley guy come to me, he was talking about, if he put a fence up, they couldn't even use that road because it was built on this property. But then you also have some old tight spill back up there using that lane. So I don't know, I don't see why you shouldn't just go up there and do something to it.
Just like I said, when you turn in that road, you can go to the right. There's some trailers down there, they can come in. But you can't come on up to my road to the left.
this is mess, I've been out there, it's washed bad, I don't know right where you're talking about.
Go around the other way, you have to go through
Mr. Hall,
Mr. Hall.
Yeah, Mr. Hall.
That's right.
And that road is coming bad up in there too.
What is an easement that everybody has to get up into their, I mean, if it's a private road?
They need to, I think they need to make it an easement, some kind of way.
And I don't think we mind doing the easement if we know what we have to do. Because I'm not the only one. Just like I said, me and my husband built the road. And after we built it, then people started moving out there.
There's several people, several families that live up
Yeah.
there where she's talking. If we could get some easements or whatever it took, maybe.
So that the county can maintain it, because legally, we can't maintain a private road.
It washes all the dirt out in the highway, and I mean, it'll build up
Yes.
a foot high there, people flying over, about to turn over, stuff like that.
It is. Just like I said, if the ambulance needed to come, they couldn't come. And now I'm having to talk people in, like if it's the UPS, I had to tell them to come up through like a hall lane, because they can't come in my road. So this is all of my,
We'll see
We'll see what we can do for
Let's
it.
I
see what we
appreciate
can
it.
work out.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other comments? If not, we move on to the next one. Number 5 on the agenda, approve minutes for April the 10th. I hear a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Motion carries. Number 6 on the agenda, approve to pay monthly bills. I hear a motion to approve to pay monthly bills.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Number 7 on the agenda, Mr. Bruce John.
There he is.
You got slipped in while you were looking around.
I got the biggest plan in the house right here. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
I'm just going to update you briefly on what's going on in the rec department. Baseball, softball, we got currently going on. Got a lot of kids, a little over 500 kids, and in the process of winding the season now. They're on baseball, softball, and back next week winds the regular play, the regular season up, and then we go into the all-star selection, which is always a pretty tense season and all right there as far as people are concerned. Then we got the district and state tournaments. I go tomorrow to see if we get a district tournament. And I know we got 3 state tournaments coming. We got 12U girls, 12U boys, and 10U boys. Summer sports, got one registration going on right now. We got tennis, golf, swim, and we all, we do swim lessons every year. We got 2 sessions that's already full. Probably gonna do another 3rd session. Try to accommodate their youth and all in our community, trying to do some swim lessons. I'll try to teach them to swim. And then in July, we come in with soccer registration. I'm just trying to give a quarterly update of what we got going on till next time we meet again. And update on the 341 construction out there. We in the process doing, do that on splash pad, the city and all, they moving on that. We got the poles and all, we're gonna move them, get them out. Mr. Marty Meadows is supposed to be working with that, trying to get that, and then we'll start doing the crown on construction of the new football field. And I'm in the process of getting bids on lights. I got Musco Lighting already in here. They done gave me a quote, and I'm gonna probably get him to come in and try to, sell his product to you guys. I know he's got a good product. We got Georgia Power and REA locally, trying to get them guys in with a bid and all that, the same apples for apples, right?
Do you got any idea on the field to get the crowning, because we need the sod now. If we don't, it's not gonna be ready for.
No, I mean, he's supposed to, something happened to his equipment yesterday, and he couldn't get here yesterday, and he's in the process of getting his stuff over here today.
The same guy that's doing the grade work on the splash pad?
Yes, sir. Marty Meadows, I think he's from Allen, and
What about, when you plan to clean up the rest of the land I have?
the Pat Dixon complex, I was going to talk about that too, because a lot of folks is asking about that. We purchased land a couple years back, behind the junior boys field back there. And they want to see some movement back there, trying to, some excavating and some bulldozers pushing up some land and stuff, trying to make some preparation for a girls complex. So, yeah, that's a lot of revenue to come in this community, because this guy told me if I skin them fields out, he'd book them every day, every weekend. And that's big, because we've been doing some tournaments here lately, and we've been averaging, probably $1,000 a weekend just a session on our part. That ain't counting the field rentals and stuff like that. But, it's there. It's in our community coming in, that was hit by splash revenue too, coming out in that merchants and stuff. But, you guys, I'm waiting on you guys to let me know, when we can start doing that out there, anticipating, start pushing that land, doing what we gotta do. I know it takes money, but it appeals to people if we could just take and put a dozer or something out there, trying to let them see we are doing something, making some progress out there.
Dry enough now.
Yes, dry enough.
Do it. Can't do it now, you won't never do it.
Any questions?
Appreciate it. Number 8, Mr. Robert Lewis, Road Department update.
Hey, gentlemen, minute. Just a few things I want to go with y'all, let y'all know what's going on. As usual, we wide open. Right now, we do a lot of pipe laying, trying to build up the roads, changing a lot of road signs, and of course, we basically start trying to cut grass. And we got to start on it. Getting our tractors ready to go right now, getting lined up. Looking forward to our new mowers again this year. They worked great last year. Just got to get our drivers lined up and get them on and get them hauling. One of the big things we've been working on, Mr. Carter and I have been coaching a good bit on this. We've been talking and he's been helping out a lot with this, is our trash hauling. And he's talked on several occasions and helped me figure out some stuff here, things we've changed. We've changed our schedule. We've been hauling Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We usually just let the truck go from place to place and haul and get a can. We've done some looking and some checking and some weighing, and we started the dispatch system, proper routing. We asking our trash attendants to fill 1 can at a time. That way we can haul a good full can. We've done a 2-week trial base on it. And just changing that one little thing, it's looking like it's probably going to say start around $7,000-8,000 a year, just in fuel. That ain't count tires, and then while we got our other guys hauling 1 can at a time, we got a driver waiting to haul. He's having to wash vehicles, graders, whatever we got to clean up on the yard, give them something else to do instead of idle time. That's working out real good for us. Hopefully in the future, if we can start packing 1 time a week, we can cut the hauling in half again. When you get a full can, all you can haul it, you can pack it and get another day out of it. That's really big money. So hopefully we can get in route and get that going for too long. A few of the things that I want to let y'all know that looking like it's going to be a little bit more money for the county. All y'all know the level going up. We got a notice last week that pipe going up 10-15%, possibly 30% on that pipe. So if it gets out of hand, we might need to get together and look at some alternatives. That pipe gets too high. Fuel has went up some, gas has went up some, and right now, other than we've got to replace a lot of signage right now. Hopefully we'll get to the end of that and see the end of that road pretty quick. Those are the things right now that we're looking at, trying to work on the cost issue. One of the good things that I want to mention, very positive note, y'all know last year, we was about walking over there with vehicles to drive. We'd go out and have to tow them in, haul them in, car them in. And you guys got together and made that decision to get us some state vehicles in here. Those state vehicles, you can put a set of tires on one of ours or pay for one of those vehicles. That's been the best move y'all have ever made. We put 1 battery in their vehicle. They're the most dependable vehicles, and they do the county just as good as a $30,000 truck. That saves the taxpayers some kind of money, and I just want to let y'all know how much we appreciate their vehicles, have something to work out of. We're in good shape for that, and we appreciate it very much. That helps us out a lot. And the other stuff that y'all helped us get and working on, we can kind of see progress on my end. So I want to let y'all know on your equipment in and the way you're working with that. I appreciate what you're doing.
Mr. Robert, just on the fuel cost of putting these trucks on dispatch like this, running, picking up the trash cans, how much savings would you say it's saving us?
Just, we done a 2 week, just a 2 week versus a 2 week running the other way. Averaged out, if you average out, and that was a low week, it averaged out about $6,000-7,000 a year, and that was just the 2 weeks. That ain't even a full, we run it a quarter, and, like I say, if we can pack again, if we can pack 1 time a week, we wouldn't be running 2 days a week, and we have not yet, we've been close on holidays, but we have not yet overfilled on the weekend and run trouble not having a can to put trash in. And I think Mr. Carter's got some other figures for y'all on, some other stuff, on the trash bills that's going to look real good, but that's been a real good statement. And I appreciate y'all working with me on it, Mr. Carter, helping me with it, so that's gonna save the county a bunch of money.
Let me ask you one more thing. On these dump sites that's not got the ramp on them, we got people that's asking about that. Don't you think that would help us out too? You know, where you drive up and throw your trash, because we got some elderly people that say they can't throw
We
them
got
over.
elderly people that, that does, and you know, we have some low cans, Mr. Jerry, the thing about it is, the low cans gets full, we don't have no, and we can't keep all low cans, because if we cut back on the hauling, but we try to keep one in each side for them, but they get filled up, and they have to be signed.
You still need that ramp.
That ramp is a lifesaver for them.
Would be,
heavy.
Yeah.
Robert, you know how much it saved the county by putting the trash behind the fence, how much would you save?
no, Mr. Carter, I think's got some figures.
We're working on
That was when you see that, I bet it's a lot.
it. It is, we'll get them for you.
It's gonna surprise you.
It's one surprise, we working on it now.
Our trash flow, if y'all remember, before we done that, it took all the inmates with detail, and my whole crew on Monday just to clean up. And then the rest of the week, it was haul. And now, we haul all day on Monday, maybe 2 or 3 cans on Tuesday, 2 or 3 cans on Wednesday, and then Thursday we clean up. If we pack that, we can even skip the day home, keep the truck off the road. And highest tires and fuel. And then the other guy that's on the trash truck, they've been, doing other things for us. Cleaning up, washing grader, cutting grass, whatever we need them to do. Helps out with that.
Scrap metal dumpsters done anything for us?
Sir,
Scrap metal dumpsters, putting those at the sites, has that done anything for us? I know it's kept the county a lot
yes,
cleaner.
it brings in, it fixes the tire when it brings in. Now, when the metal gets high, they probably slow down, but right now, we haul it to this right now.
Probably 4 checks this week, I don't remember the total on each one.
So it's worthwhile, I mean,
Yeah.
plus it's keeping the county a lot cleaner, so folks aren't throwing
It's very worthwhile.
Also, Mr. Robert, I've been gonna get with Mr. Carter and see what, if it would be, feasible for us to put a can out there for like pasteboard or plastic. I don't know what would be enough, we'd have to call somebody and see.
I'll check on
Recycle, sir.
Recycle, that's
Can
right.
tell you, how profitable it is, they do that.
I've had some people ask me about that, the reason I've been gonna get with Mr. Carter and slip my mind. Thank you, Mr. Robert.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate what you're doing. Next on the agenda, Mr. Jim Sewell, Board of Tourism Fairgrounds Association update.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Pass those around. This is just a overview that's put out by the state each year. These are 2016 are the most recent numbers they have. But the tourism industry, of course, all of the state of Georgia is a big industry. It brings a lot of money into the state, and even though we're not a big, fancy, renowned tourist attraction, there's still a lot of impact here locally. According to their numbers, in the tourism industry here in Jeff Davis County supports 140 jobs, which generate about $2.75 million in payroll. each year. So that's a pretty good sized business right there. If you would take those 140 jobs and that 2.75 million payroll, that's a pretty good size. If you separate that, that would be a pretty good sized small business here in Jeff Davis County. Another thing that probably that's sure of interest to you guys, it generated $410,000 in local tax revenue. That's a big chunk of money there. And you can see from the graph there in the middle of the page, since from 2009 to 2016, we've been, our money and the expenditures in the county have been growing from about 12 million in 2009 to almost 16 million in 2016. But the bottom line, that bottom number, that bottom sentence right there says that each Jeff Davis County household would need to be taxed an additional $199 per year to replace the taxes that are generated by the tourism activity here in the county. That's $200 that you guys will have to raise taxes on the citizens of the county. So, we don't think much of tourism, but those folks, anybody that pulls in at Flash Foods up there and buys a tank of gas and goes in and gets a couple pack of crackers, he's a temporary taxpayer. While he's here, he's leaving money here, and he's leaving sales tax dollars here, and he's generating revenue. And even though they're not here for 15 minutes, they're considered a tourist. And so that's part of what we do. Here locally, with our tourism activities here, of course, at the end of last year, we completed the project out at Towns Bluff Park, installing 2 yurts. Those are a really tremendous addition to the campground out there. They're in use. We hope they continue to grow as we get here into the spring and summer months. I know during the fall, when there's that busiest season at the campground, they'll be put to good use. But they are been a tremendous asset, and if they grow to be the success that we expect to go, we'll certainly look at the possibility of adding some more down the road if there's a need to justify doing so. We budgeted about $30,000 for that project. We ended up spending a little over 40 time we got into them, and we had plans for the main additional cost came on the deck that goes around the base of them. We made some changes on those once we got our bids in, and did things like we put safety railings all the way around the deck, and we put a handicap accessible ramp on one, and we put outdoor sinks on both of them to really make them, just little small things that make them nicer for the people that are using there. So that's money that we've had in tourism. All our money comes from hotel motel tax and other projects we use. So we're not using local taxpayer property tax money. We're working all this strictly through hotel motel tax, and we're very fortunate that our 3 motels here do a tremendous amount of business and turn that revenue in, so we can do things like build those yurts there at Towns Bluff Park. March of every year, we do Beaches to the Beaches, which continues to grow every year. Just unbelievable amount of people that come through our county on that weekend. I wish there was some way we could put turnstiles up and know exactly how many people come through, because it is just thousands upon thousands. If I had to guess, I'd say 10, 12, maybe even 13, 14,000 people this past year. Because Saturday, they came in waves and just one right behind the other. And that event, just us directly there, we generated revenue of over $9,000 through vendor rentals, T-shirt sales, the different things we do at that event. So we generated about $9,000 in revenue. Of course, we split vendor fees with Explorer Highway 341 Association, which they turn around and take that money and they spend about $10,000 or $12,000 a year advertising for that event or promoting the event. That's what gets it continue to grow. All said and done, when we took our costs out, other costs we had, porta potties and other expenditures to put the event on, we still netted about $2,800 to the good in that project there. So that's a little bit of a fundraiser for us. And, we're looking forward to next year. Now, we, other thing going on out there at the park, on Baxley Highway, and where we've had great success, out there. So we're kind of trying to figure out what we're gonna do next year. Well, we're gonna have an event that size with the largest single vendor site on the route. We had 200 individual vendor spaces, 15 by 15 spaces on the football field. We put 200 out there. People every year tell us how much they love coming to Hazelhurst and coming to that site because it is so ordered, in an orderly fashion. It's fenced in, it's a good park, and there's plenty of, just a great place for them to go and have all that many vendors in one spot. It's by far the most popular spot along the right. So, I'll be looking if you guys help us out, try to find a replacement site if we're not able to use the ballpark there, even once the renovations are done. We've, just this past weekend, we had the Three Rivers Festival out at Towns Bluff Park, had a great weekend out there. We had the campground full of barbecue teams. We had them stacked in there every space we had open. We had 2 on ton spots because we needed the space. So we'll be cutting Towns Bluff Park a pretty good check here later on this week once I get everything totaled up and all. We pay the park for use of the campground for that weekend. So that's good for them. These people that come in, they love our facility. They tell us it's the best place they go anywhere in the state that they do barbecue competitions. And a lot of them come back just to come back and camp, later on, during the year when they're out picking barbecue. Had over 40 vendors out in the vendor area, which is a lot most they had out there. Miss Ann Bookart handles that part out. She does a tremendous job. Had the entertainment, local entertainment, the high school bands played, and Gloria County students came to sing and entertain. And that, of course, anytime you put kids up on the stage, that's going to draw people out. And that's what it's all about. It's a community activity. We know we draw people in from all other places, but it's also a good activity for our people here in town to get out and experience the park out there. A lot of people, they say, well, I've never been out there to the park. Well, they're missing a treat if they haven't been out there. And we want to continue to work with the folks at the park and help them grow and find other things that we can enhance the park out there. We've got 2 canoe paddles the next 2 weeks. One, Old Mulligan Water Trail Partnership is putting on the paddle. They'll start at Lumber City on the Old Mulligan, paddle down and end up at Towns Bluff. That'll be this coming Saturday. They say they got about 50 boaters, 50 boats out registered for that. Come down, and we're talking with Bruce. The Recreation Department always works with us. They let us use the bus they got, and we hired the driver and to show them the paddles between Lumber City and the park. The very next weekend is our Three Rivers paddle that we've been sponsoring now for 5 or 6 years in conjunction with the Georgia Conservancy. We'll have 50 to 80 paddlers again the next weekend now, and they rent the entire campground for that weekend. They come in on Friday, and they'll do a paddle on Saturday. They do a tour of Rocks and Rocks on Sunday, and then they head out. So that's a lot of things that are really getting exposure to the park, which is our, that's our really main tourist attraction, so to speak, here in the county. So everything's going right. I want to commend you guys for the work that's been done out at the park. Getting equipment out there for maintenance to be done and kept up. That place looks as good as it's looked in a long, long time, and we thank you because it all reflects good on us in the county when visitors come in and see that park looking so neat and clean out there. That pretty much has got all I've got to say for tourism, unless y'all got some questions on that before we talk a little bit about the fairground.
You mentioned the hotel tax. I know one time, a couple of years ago, yes, it was, we was having a problem collecting some, or is that all that resolved?
All that's resolved, and it was that windfall that we got when we finally collected about 2.5 years worth of tax at one time. It was about $30,000.
Right.
So that's what put us on the York project. I mean, that, we took that 30,000 plus another 10 that we had built up in our funds and put the Yorks in.
Right.
So we are working on looking to the next project. I know that there's been work trying to get a stage put in out there at the park for these festivals and other activities that go on. We're gonna be participating in that. We'll do some funding on that to make sure that when that project gets ready to come to fruition. So we're looking for enhancements out there. Right now, all three of our motels are staying up to date. They're making their payments. I know the one we had issue with just was sold again. There's new owners there, and they hit the ground running. They made their payment on time first month, so we're good there. Hopefully, we don't have to fight that battle anymore.
Yes.
Anything else on tourism? Keith asked me also to speak a little bit about the fairgrounds. As you know, Mr. D.X. Claxton had an accident here several weeks ago. He's been in the hospital. Was in Macon for a few weeks. He's now in Perry at the rehab center. And so the fairground is rented pretty regular. And so I've been on the fair board through tourism. I've been a fair association board member for several years. My wife also was on the fair association board. So the board met a few weeks ago and asked, did I mind kind of overseeing the handling of the key and collecting the funds for the rentals and so forth. So that's what I've been doing until Mr. Claxton's, his issue settled and the Fair Association decides how they want to handle that going forward. But we're taking care of it. That facility has been rented just about every weekend since I've gotten the keys and been handling that. I've only had 1 or 2 weekends that it's not been rented. I think there's a rental every weekend in May, June, and I've got a couple in July, and I don't even have his calendar yet. We're still trying to get his calendar, because I don't know what's rented down the road, and I've got people calling every week wanting to rent it, and I'm not taking any new reservations until I can confirm what's on the books already. But it is being put to good use. There's a lot of use out there on a regular basis.
What about the facilities? What about the facilities out there? I mean, I hear a lot about air conditioners don't work, et cetera.
I haven't heard about the air conditioner specifically. I went out there, matter of fact, I was out there Sunday checking. There'd been a couple of rentals to make sure everything was clean and looked good. It was clean. The last people that rented it did a great job cleaning up, getting it done. We've got some issues. I talked with Ricky Lyle about the plumbing situations out there. We're going to get him back to take care of those, do it better. It's not that the plumbing's not working, it's just that he pointed out some things that would be potential problems pretty quick. And so we're going to go ahead and address those, get those plumbing issues now out of the way. I've looked into the air conditioners. I've not heard none of the people that have rented that I have talked to have said anything about the air conditioners. I think last year or a year before, it was right before we had the prison crew in that repainted the inside of the big house. The prisoners went out there, repainted the interior of the fairgrounds. They put wainscoting up halfway on the wall, so the interior looks really good. Now there's some work needs to be on in the exterior. There's some issues with other structures around there that needs to be addressed, and I don't know. It's county property, and the Fair Association put the money up into those buildings there. Those concession buildings outside, those really need to all be taken down. Those are a couple of them have already come down, but really basically all of them need to come down. I don't think there's anything in any of them. If anybody's left anything in there this long and they haven't got it out, it ain't worth having now. Because I don't think anybody's been in them in several years now. The 1890 Village, that's going to be a tough decision that's got to be made. There's some buildings there that are in real bad shape. So I'm not sure what the solution there is. That's something that hopefully very shortly maybe we can get the officers of the Fair Association and the commissioners can sit down together and determine what needs to do with that, what happens there going forward. But it's a shame that they have that real strong group of people that got that up and going, put it on and did the 1890 celebration for several years. And now all those people have, you know, they've gone up in years. And they're not physically able to do the things that they used to do. And there's been, you know, the younger generation is not interested in, that's just not what they're interested in. So there's not been any people that stepped in and taken on the mantle and to keep those things going. So, we'll continue to work, with y'all, the county, to do what we can with the fairgrounds. I know that they got some maintenance issues that they've already talked about, that they're going there and just did some electrical work that had to be done. And we're looking at the plumbing, and we'll continue to address those, as need be, and then, you know, hopefully very soon that, can get together the Fair Association Board, the commissioners, and whoever else wants to be involved and try to come up with a permanent solution going forward, because it's a nice facility and it has some potential to be even better, but there's some issues that do have to be addressed.
Is the Board of Tourism and the Fair Association, they two different boards?
No, that's two different boards. The Fair Association is a separate nonprofit corporation.
Do they have meetings?
They have an annual meeting every year.
Or annual meeting?
They have an annual meeting. And I'm going to go off memory here, and I may be wrong. If any of y'all know any different, y'all correct me. But if I'm not mistaken, the Fair Association started out and held a couple of fairs, got some money together and bought the property out there where the fairgrounds is, and it deeded to the county. They then, with some help from the county, built the building out there. There's also a separate livestock show arena out there. It's all been done through combination of county money and Fair Association money. The Fair Association is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. It was formed originally with officers were elected. Board members were they went to each one of the civic clubs in the county, in the city, in Hazlehurst, Jeff Davis County, and asked them to appoint 2 members to the board. So originally there were probably 20 or 25 active board members in the early years. They had the fair every year out there, which generated a lot of revenue and allowed them to continue to build and improve the property. Of course, fairs are pretty much a thing of the past. Small carnivals have gone out of business, and unless you're a city the size of Perry or bigger, you don't get a carnival to come do a fair in your community. I mean, that's bygone days. So, you know, it's a good building. It's set up. There's half of it that's finished up with the walls finished up that can be used as a banquet facility. It's got a solid curtain that can be drawn to separate it. Then the other side of the building is basically bare steel, pretty much bare steel, you know, a steel building type unfinished. And that was always the exhibit hall when they had the fair. Just had the exhibit there. So it's a multi-purpose building. It can be, you know, it can be opened up and have a huge building that you could have hundreds of thousands, you know, 1,000 people in there. Or you can draw the curtain to and cut off half the building and have a nice banquet facility that'll seat a couple of hundred people easily.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, you said they have a meeting once a year. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that's the main meeting. Now they have.
How about the board? You said they had somebody on the board, right?
Right.
Board members?
Well, the officers meet more regularly. You've got a president, vice president, secretary.
Okay, I was
treasurer.
going on that board, right?
Right.
But I hadn't heard that, and I'm trying to figure out when they have a meeting.
They have their annual meeting in January of each year. And that's when that is really the only board meeting specifically that they have, is at the annual meeting, where they review the year. The officers do meet periodically.
Who have operating though, I mean, for us?
What we're getting at, we haven't been very active
Right.
in this, and we want to be,
And we want to
because
be,
we
right.
want it to be part of an economic development package, because it's one of the very few places in Jeff Davis County you can affordably rent it
Right.
for a whole bunch of people.
Mhm.
And we appointed James, or not appointed, but James agreed to go and serve on that board, but yet we can't seem to get any information from anyone about how he can get more involved, and that's why we kind of fell out.
They don't have a meeting once a month, I want to say.
No, they don't, the board does not meet but once a year. And they,
Mr. Claxton, he was running this whole outfit out there.
he and the officers, the 4 officers handled the month-to-month business. And there were occasions that they did have other call board meetings, but, you know, the only regular scheduled meeting they had was the annual meeting for the corporation.
I've been on the board, who's on the board?
But you have the 4 officers, you have representatives from, each one of the civic clubs, the Rotary Club, and a lot of the civic clubs have come and gone. You know, one time you had the Rotary Club, the Pilot Club, the Lions Club, the Sport Producers, the Young Farmers, FFA, 4-H, all of those organizations had 2 members on the board. Chamber of Commerce was represented on the board. Tourism, a board member. Arts and Entertainment Council has a seat on the board. And then they had traditionally recognized the county commissioner who represented the district at the fairgrounds in as being a board member, but, you know, if you want to choose to appoint a separate, that's fine.
But you tell me the other day that y'all sent out some response the other day and didn't get but 6.
Well, they sent out notices of the annual meeting to all of those organizations that are active. And I think there were 5 or 6 that actually showed up to the board meeting when they had.
I think what Hank was trying to get to,
If we don't know.
and what we talked about is that, just like you said, it's basically accountability. And basically, we're responsible for it. So what we would like to see as commissioners, and I think I'm speaking for everyone here, is that even if there's discussions on things that's done out there, we would like for the person that's appointed, the commissioner that's appointed, to be involved in them discussions with the officers.
He could come back and update us, and we don't know what's going
Because if he's just gonna meet once a year, it's kind of, well, let me just say this. I didn't even know I was on the board. Till somebody said I was on the board, and I said, well, I must be on because I'm in that district. But nobody ever told me, nobody ever invited me to a meeting. So I didn't have a clue. That's why we wanted to appoint somebody where we can be more involved in what's going on to take care of the people of this county.
Well, I see it.
Find out what's going on. We'd love to see it get going, we'd love to see it, most especially the hog and cow barn out there, run down.
And that's the thing that, you know, right now, the Fire Association as an organization is kind of in a transition. And you know, Mr. Claxton, that was his baby, and he lived and breathed. And he stayed out there and he spent, I don't know how many hours out there tending to that place and doing a lot of the work himself out there. So, we're kind of in a transition, and, you know, we want to honor him and not, you know, because of all the commitment, the work that he put into it. So we're kind of in a kind of holding pattern right now. But as soon as all of that's settled, we do want to get together with the county and maybe we can come up with a restructure, because the original structure of the board has become outdated, because a lot of the civic clubs that were a part of it originally no longer exist. The ones that are still active have not actively participated in the board meetings to be honest with you, years. There's generally at the annual meeting, there's about 12 or 15, maybe 20 that generally show up at the annual meeting each year. And then they do an update the whole year, financial reports and all of that. But it does need to be something on a more regular basis, even if it's just a quarterly meeting, to kind of update things.
I went out there the other day and looked around, it really needs to be cleaned up around them buildings with old briars and all of it, some of the fence, I mean, we need.
I guess what we're getting at, we want to help you, we don't want to micromanage
Right.
what's going on.
But we can't help like we've been doing in the past when we don't even know
Exactly.
anyway.
Right.
That's why we want him to be involved with y'all, so he can come back and let us know.
And that's one thing I've been kind of strung out this week, but I went out there Sunday, and you're right. There's some areas out there we could get the prison crew in maybe, and it's gonna take some backbone and weed eaters to clean up some areas that you can't even get a lawnmower into right now.
That's right.
And then, you know, in the summer months, the grass has to be cut on a regular basis. And, but the inside was in good shape. I just looked at that and all. I just turned the air conditioners on, they all came on, didn't stay there long enough to find out how well they operate. But as I said, nobody that's rented it, of course, it hadn't been that warm until now. So we'll find out for sure about the air conditioners pretty quick. But, if there's a problem with them, if they let us know, we'll get them fixed.
I think that'd be good, just come up with some kind of format.
I think that would be the thing, we get a meeting and maybe restructure the bylaws to have a different, you know, format for the board of directors of that to go forward from this point.
Thank you, Mr.
All
Dennis.
right, thank y'all.
Next on the agenda, Ms. Sandra Miller, Gulf Development Authority update. Good.
Andrea couldn't be here today. She's at the Georgia Chamber of Commerce Board Retreat in Atlanta. Represent the chamber, our chamber, and she serves on that board. Our updates, we're working with Verizon on, they're interested in leasing land for a mobile title. The technical college, we had a career expo on 4/27 and a field trip, and we visited Coastal Pines, Technical College, Thompson Hardwoods, and Precision Products. And we were in conjunction with the school, helping with our leadership programs, trying to get these kids started into a job or a college or technical school activity whenever they graduate. The career and job expo was a real big success. I don't know how many kids got employed, but I know several did. And there's kids that wouldn't have went to college or tech school. They're helping local industry. Project updates, Project Gum Swamp, an existing industry expansion and over 40 jobs will be created. And then Project Mod, which is with SEGA, Regional Development Authority. They have a prospect located in the old American Space Solutions building in Adler County. It's owned by State Regional Development Authority. The company will lease the building for 5 years to refurbish and build modular buildings, and then the lease begins June the 1st. And the programs and partnerships that she and I have been active in, I'm not going to list all those, tell you all those because they're all on that paper, but that's what our Industrial Development Authority is doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. Next on the agenda is to approve resolution to obtain financial assistance from the Rural Development Department of Agriculture for the purpose of providing construction of a new farmer's market. So what we're trying to do is get a grant for it. I hear a motion to approve that.
Go ahead.
Second. Second.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carried. Next on the agenda, number 12, reappoint Sherry Nursery to the DFAX board.
I'll make a motion.
Any discussion? None, all in favor? Motion carries. Number 13, approve or deny to renew the employee's health insurance with Blue Cross and Blue Shield through ACCG.
Make a motion that we approve the renewal of the insurance.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank y'all. All right, next on the agenda, number 14, approve or deny beer or wine application for GSSHA Incorporation DBA 221 Quick Stop. It's changing ownership what it is, and it's a Patel. And you got it in your package. Everything's done been, requirements have been met. So I hear,
That makes a motion to approve.
a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 15 on the agenda, discuss new or old business. Anybody want to discuss new business?
Hey, I want to bring up, and Sonia briefly touched on this, Beasley Forest Products Inc. has a project going on, they call it Project Young Swamp. And what they're asking for is an abatement on taxes. What this is going to do is it is going to create at least their performance standards on this. If we approve the abatement, it will create at least 42 full-time jobs in Jeff Davis County. And will also be at least a $50 million investment and a total of $47 million at least in tangible property. Y'all all got a copy of it. Is any questions?
It's 50%. Yes, property tax.
Yes. For the 42 jobs and at least 47 million in tangible property.
They have to be within 80%.
That's right.
Yeah.
They have to be within 80%, they got a deadline to finish.
Beasley has signed off on this, and also the joint development authority has signed off on it, and I'm asking for a vote tonight that we approve this fallback.
I make a motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Anybody? Not, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Any other new or old business?
I will just report on the SPOS again.
Okay.
Report for each month since the new. To reach the 12.5 million that's projected, you'd have to average about 139 per county a month. And we were down about 21,000 this past month. We were at 118,500.
118.5.
Yes, sir. But, you know, of course, we've got 6 years.
How much was the last one?
I don't have it with me. It was down.
It's about 39,000 now, last
Well,
month,
bad.
it's about 21.
Well, you should see it, I mean, these upcoming months,
Right.
are usually the best months anyway.
And like I say, you understand it is 6 years, but hopefully it's better on the other end. I just wanted y'all to know what we were at.
Any other new or old business?
Sir, you got any business?
It's all good.
For you? Thank you.
Mr. Robert got it. We bought them like those white Ford cars. They didn't need the truck anymore, we give it to Mr. Roberts to drive.
We told tax assessor.
No. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank y'all very much.
Take care. Scared?
Sonia?